All right. We are on air. I can say the prayer if that's okay.
Okay, I'll give a thought.
That works
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
All right. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that we're able to meet together as a group at this time, and we ask thee that we will have thy spirit with us, that you will be able to lead and direct our meeting and conversation, and that we will be able to help one another learn from this case study, and that we will increase our own knowledge as well. We are grateful for this opportunity and the education we are able to receive. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Um, okay, so I thought I saw an object lesson the other day that was pretty cool. If you've grown up in the church, it's highly likely you've already seen this. Um, but have you guys seen the faith lesson with the coffee filter thing?
I don't know if I've seen it.
I'm not sure.
There's a thing where you can take. There's like these tubes that you can buy for coffee. They're like these weird like cylinder things. No, not for coffee, for tea.
Okay,
Anyway,
yeah.
there's a brand where if you put one on your hand, you can like make the cylinder stand up on your hand, and then if you light it on fire, it'll burn all the way to the bottom. But when it gets to the very bottom, it floats away off your hand, and it doesn't burn you.
Wow.
So the idea of the lesson is that it was compared to faith. So you ask them, they're like, "Do you have faith that if I light this thing on fire, that I won't burn you? But it's only going to work if you don't move." And if they say yes, like basically, if they don't move, it flies away and they turn out to be fine, but they get really close to being burned. And the essence of the lesson was that if you have faith, then you might like true faith is enduring even when it looks like you're going to get burned. Because if you hold out and if you have faith in the Lord, like even when things get tough, things will often turn out to be just fine. Like tithing is an example of that. You know, you might not have faith that if you pay your tithing that you'll be financially sound. It might get tough for a little bit, but you'll get blessings or like just other stuff like that. Like it might be hard to find time to go to church or do activities, and life seems hard. But then you know the thing flies away and you end up being safe and you're good. So I just thought it was a cool little lesson.
That is
Thank
cool.
you.
We used to do that on our mission, burning the tea bags.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Okay, shall we discuss?
Yes, let's discuss.
Okay.
Pull it up.
So I got the thing right here. First question: what does BzzAgent do? What need is being met? What about the product market fit? Have they demonstrated demand they can profitably serve? And what makes BzzAgent successful? So I guess I'll start. That's easy. They're just a marketing company, and like it said, they're a word of mouth company. So instead of just selling ads or creating print material or visual material, they're actually paying people to go talk about the product in real life situations and scenarios. Um, yes, and have they demonstrated demand they can properly serve? I think so because they're growing at an enormous rate, and their first clients were, their first jobs were very successful, and it seems like it's a changing market that works really, really well for their model. What do you guys think?
I would agree with
I
that.
would agree too.
I think it's a cool idea, honestly. I really like it.
Yeah, I think especially now. I mean, this was in like 2005 or whatever, but especially now, if you're to focus on word of mouth, not only in person but digital, like viral marketing and stuff. I mean, I think that'd be huge. I'm sure a bunch of people already do that.
Yeah, word of mouth is major for marketing.
Yeah,
Big
I'd
deal.
say, yeah, and now probably more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
You say that now with social media, now, with more than ever things going viral, there where before it was kind of people had to, tell their friends, and then it was kind of got bigger, but it usually stayed pretty localized. It wasn't necessarily international within a couple of hours.
Yeah, people weren't connected in the same way.
No.
Okay,
But
cool.
word of mouth can also be bad too, because usually for every person who's upset, they'll go tell 10 people that they're upset. But when they're happy, they'll go tell 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, that's true. If your product is good, it's really good. But if your product sucks, then word of mouth is the worst. Okay. Well,
Yeah. Or service or whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a product.
yeah. Okay, well, it says pull out the case and discuss Table A and Exhibit 5. And it says take your time as you work through the following questions. How profitable are they? Calculate the growth rate. How satisfied are you with revenue growth? How satisfied are you with operating margin? So let's, I'll just pull that up real quick, I guess.
Yes, I'm getting there as well.
Cool.
Maybe. Let's see.
And I'm just driving safely, so I'm not gonna.
Keep driving safe.
That's
I'm not
fine.
gonna be pulling that up.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Stay safe.
All right. Which one? It looks like they want us to pull up Table A and Exhibit 5. Do you want to just go to the table? I'll pull up the exhibit.
Yeah, I can do that.
It's sideways, so I'm gonna turn this over.
Okay, Table A. Okay, I'm at Table A.
Okay. I have the exhibit. I'm just trying to figure out my rotation.
Work calculate.
Gosh, it's not working. All right. So it says, how profitable is BzzAgent? And calculate the growth rate from the beginning of 2002 to the end of 2004. So what do we think on that? I'm actually just going to go to the table as well.
What? Are you going to Table A?
Yeah, let's just look at that first.
Okay. So, wait, we're looking for growth rate on Table A?
First, we're looking at how profitable they are.
Oh, okay. Like, that's not on Table A.
Yeah. And it looks like 25% is the number.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty good for a service.
Yeah.
Services are different than like retail, so.
I think that's a good number to aspire to.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Great.
Go to Exhibit 5, which is like way down here. And it's super huge.
Okay, let me scroll down there. This was a huge case.
I know, I saw it said abridged. I was like, oh, cool, it's going to be short. And then it was like 20 pages.
It's like huge still.
It was long.
Yeah.
Yeah, Exhibit 5 is long too. Let's see.
Growth rate. Oh,
So what are we supposed to calculate?
So we're looking at the growth rate between 2002 and 2004. Jeez.
What are you using to calculate your growth rate? Are you using like net income or? I can't remember how you like I get like past, present, like the formula, but I don't remember what I pull it from.
Yeah. Let's go with net income. I feel like that's a good number to go with.
Okay.
And I don't have an Excel spreadsheet up.
You do?
No, I don't.
Okay, I have one up. Let me see.
I mean, I feel like we can kind of get the gist of their growth rate without actually having to pull up specific numbers. Like,
yeah, I probably can.
All right, so from 2002 to 2004, they go from negative 67 grand to 265,000. So that's a pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's really good.
That's like what, 5 times more, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's quite an increase.
However, from 2004 to 2006, they shoot it from 265 grand up to 3 million. So that's just an enormous growth.
Yeah.
I don't know what the percentage is, but it's very big, very good.
I don't know what the percentage. I'm trying to calculate the first one. I just want to know. Okay. So I don't know if this is correct, but it says that to 2004 their growth rate was 79%.
Let's go with that. If we're doing it wrong, we're doing it wrong.
Okay.
But
and then what were you going to say?
No, sorry, keep going.
2006. Sorry, I just have to get the next number in there. So it's 312. Okay, and then they were 98%. Hey, Maddie.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
So does that sound about right? A 98% growth rate between 2002 to 2006?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Let's move on to the next one. How, with revenue growth, and how satisfied are you with the operating margin? / what is the operating margin?
I just closed Excel.
I'm going to say I'm really satisfied. That's really good growth.
Gigi, calm down.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember all these formulas. Wait, what was the second half of that question?
So the second half was how
operating
satisfied are you? Yeah, with the operating margin, and what is the operating margin?
Oh, isn't that on here?
Yeah.
Operating margin's usually on here.
Yeah, so it's right in bold on the next page.
It's really good. Looks good. And the operating margin is the cost of operation divided by revenue, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm reading.
Yeah.
It's a measurement of what proportion of a company's revenue is left over after paying for variable costs of production, such as wages, raw materials, etc. So, yeah, it's their leftover revenue after they've paid for everything.
Yeah.
And it's obviously improved substantially throughout the years.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's like we said before, it's about 25% where their profit margins are. It was 27 a couple years ago, then lowered to 25/26, but it seems like it's fairly consistent. My opinion is that I would like to see more growth. Good number.
Sorry, you cut out. You'd like to see more growth, and then what?
My opinion is that it's a very, very good number to aspire to, like 25%, but I would like to see more upward growth, since it looks like it's kind of plateaued, that number.
20,
But,
like, yeah, more of a larger margin than 25%.
Yeah, maybe just have it increase, because it looks like for the last couple of years it's kind of going in a straight line.
Yeah. Or if they could get their operation expenses down, they have pretty high operating expenses. Mm-hmm. That might be a place they could cut costs, be a little more efficient.
Yeah. And I guess even if that number is stagnant, it's still going to be a bigger number every year, because the more profits they make, the greater, percent they're pulling in. If it's 20%, so I guess it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other thoughts from anyone?
No, I think what she did was good.
Alrighty, well, let's move on then. Like a lot of questions. If BzzAgent is growing and profitable, why are they raising money now? Can they succeed without venture capital funds? What role does timing play in this decision, and how much money do they need? Guys have any thoughts on this one?
Well, I think timing is kind of everything, because even if they're growing right now and the market can handle what they're doing, now is the time to make sure that they take it up to that next notch, even though they seem to be doing well, because the window of opportunity may close.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that would be my biggest thing to get funding now, is basically just what you said. Is because if somebody else comes out and does it, you kind of lose your shot to be the first company doing it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, basically, like, funding helps them to grow bigger and helps them to become scaled higher than they could even imagine. The difference between them and a lot of other businesses is that they don't need the funding. They could go on without it and they could do really well, but the funding will help them to achieve more than they could have without it.
They can probably expand faster with the funding. Maybe if they need to hire more people, or get a bigger space, or update something or whatever, then at least they would have the money to be able to do that, even if they technically don't need it.
Yeah, and I think that's one aspect that allows them to set their own terms. Because most businesses come along and they have to have these funds to be able to do what they want, but these guys don't need the money, so they're able to kind of let the venture capitalists compete for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, which is really cool, I think, that they get to do that at your own terms. Great.
Come on, let's go get you.
All right, so it's time to go through the spreadsheet. Did you guys do the spreadsheet that came with the assignment?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so I have all the answers. I kind of procrastinated this assignment a little bit, so I got the numbers, but I didn't really have time to like analyze them very hard.
Okay. What are we just comparing answers? Because it doesn't really say, it just says compare the 50 million valuation on the 15 million investment.
Yeah, so it says, okay, so compare the investments. Then it says discuss the math you use to calculate your answers on the tab entitled number.
Oh, go to tab 2, basically.
All right, so we'll just knock out those two. So compare the investments and just say how we. Great. Does anyone have any opinions I have mine, but I've been talking a lot.
I can share mine unless Maddie or Vanessa want to share what they have.
You can start, and I'll jump in if I have anything, because like we kind of already talked about it before we went live. So
Yeah, so
I didn't get it all done, but I was working on some of it last night.
okay. So for number 5, what
Okay.
you want me to tell you, like my answers basically, or the introduction, or I don't really understand what it's asking for number 5.
Just give us your opinion on which investment is better.
Okay.
40 plus 10 or the 50 plus 15, and I guess share how you did some of the math, I think is what it's asking.
Okay. My opinion is that I would stay with the 40-10. And my reasoning behind that is because I feel like if they follow the terms outlined in the 50-15, they're giving up too much of their power or ownership of the company, because they're giving up basically half of the board. They're letting that VC, the venture capitalist, basically have 50% because they get to choose the independent, and so it's 3-on-3. And I think that if they're asking for 10, they probably don't need 15 million, or they would have asked for the 15 million. And it also will increase their risk of being able to meet those expectations for the VC. For my math, for the 50 million, as far as value, the value of investors' share at exit, I got 55.6 million to just give off the last 3 numbers. And I did, let me see, I did the Series B investment times 1 plus the target rate of growth, and then I raised it to the 5th. I don't know the math term for that, but and that's how I got that number. I don't know. Do you want to look at my screen? Would that be easier than me explain?
You can share if you want. I think it just wants us to talk about the math, but I don't know. I mean, it even has an answer key inside of it. So
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what they want us to do here.
I know I don't know.
I think you covered the math. That's fine.
Just cover the math. Okay. Yeah. So for BzzAgent exit, I did, let me see, pre-money valuation plus Series B investment times 1 plus the target growth rate raised to the 5th, and I got 241 million.
Cool.
okay.
That's what I got.
That's what you got?
Yeah.
Cool. It tells you if you got it right. So like as long as you got the check mark.
Yeah.
So. And then. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say my opinion that I agree with you. I think the 40-10 is better. Essentially, their goal into this was that they're going to set their own terms and let investors fight over it instead of letting the investors set the terms. So if you come in and let the investors set a term, what are you even doing this for? You know, like it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that we talked about before was just that going with the other one, it's just you lose so much control in your company. And if basically if you're going to give up that much control, why even stay in it? I would just rather sell it and move on to the next thing.
Didn't they also mention with the other one, like they would have to be paying more dividends compared to the plan that they originally had? Also?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see.
I saw that somewhere that the
Yeah.
other deal had dividends. The other one didn't. I can't remember where I saw that. But
Oh, it is. It's on the introduction. It's at the very bottom. They didn't want to give them any dividends, and the VC wanted a 7% annual cumulative dividend.
Yeah, that's bogus.
That's what I would just stick with the 10 million and say, if you want a piece of us, then you can follow our terms. That's kind of their whole purpose, anyways. So.
Well, and when you're asking somebody to join. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's all I was going to say, is that the difference isn't even that big. So.
Yeah, and also when you're asking somebody to join you, you don't invite somebody to the party and then let them dictate how the party's going to go. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, unless they come back with some like really outstanding offer of like, wow, this is going to make it even that much better. But most of the time that doesn't end up happening.
Very true. Do you want me to keep going through the math, or are we good on the math?
Let's just go on.
Okay, I can go through the whole spreadsheet.
If there's an answer key, it's kind of, I think it's a little bit redundant.
Yeah, I mean so the next one says go to the capitalization tables. It says compare your responses. Ultimately, we know what the right answers are. So,
yeah.
So if you got the green check, we all match.
Yeah. And if you don't, can I just say, this is not super relevant, but I felt like I was losing my mind. On the capitalization tables, there's that one. And I forgot how to do 7th grade algebra. I couldn't believe myself. I was like 55, 14, 950 divided by X equals what percent, like this percent, and I couldn't figure it out. I felt retarded. I eventually did, but I was like, oh my gosh. Brain is turning to mush or something.
No, that happens to me all the time. I never remember.
But okay, so for the cap tables, I'll just read my answers. Okay. I have the check marks, so they're right. The post-money valuation is 65 million. The Series B ownership on their terms is 23% instead of 20. Holders hold 59.9% on the term sheet. The option pool is 17% instead of 8%. For term is 1,565,128. The investment is 2,124,676. The total is 9,206,928. And finally, on step 4, the Series B price per share is $7.06. The current shareholders hold 38,950,000, and the option pool is at 11,050,000. Sorry if I moved too fast.
You're good.
Nice. Good job.
So let's move on to the discussion part. Okay, why is the price per share on the VC term sheet very close to that of the... why is the price per share on both of them very close, but the value to current shareholders is different?
Well, isn't it different because they want to sell? As far as BzzAgent goes, they don't want to sell. They want to buy back a bunch of shares.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, so it looks like the one of the second terms adds a bunch of shares. So they end up having more, but there's also a lot more in the option pool.
Yeah.
Mom took them. Just spoke in. She was wearing them.
Okay, so the numbers are very close. So it's interesting because on paper, it seems like the second choice gives them more value because their value is higher, but the percentages are also a lot different because their value with the VC is like 39 million. That's at 60%. Whereas on the other one, it's 36 million, which is barely less, but they're at 72%. So they're getting much more of the cut. The number is bigger on the VC term sheet. The first one is, it's actually much more valuable to them.
Yeah, I would agree.
Does anyone have any other thoughts on that?
I think you guys are right on it.
Okay, well then let's talk about this then.
My brain's just not really here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So this one's pretty easy. Which number which number is more important to you as a founder, and which number is more important to you as a Series A investor?
Well, as a founder, sorry, I left the page. I would want my percentage to be the highest, always.
Yeah.
So the current, wait, where is it? I thought it was on here where it shows how much they own. Is that a different part?
Well, wouldn't that be which number is more important to you as the Series A investor? Like if you were the investor, you'd want more of, you kind of would want to be looking more towards like dividends because that's the money that you'd be getting back, like for the shareholders. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'd say as an investor, you'd like VC's terms.
Well, the dividends is one thing, which is, incredibly important. That's a good point. And in addition to that, I think investors just want companies to grow and grow and grow.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of want the company to be as big as possible because then their cut gets bigger.
Your rate of return is important.
Mm-hmm.
With founders, I think excessive exponential growth, I mean, it's obviously important, but it's not as important as long as their numbers are good. Like 10 times the size of your company, but you give up all your equity in it. That doesn't matter if you're the shareholder, for the founder. So I think both of those, the dividends and the numbers in general, like sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more thoughts on that? Should we go on?
Let's go on.
Yes. Okay, go to class prep worksheet and discuss your answers.
I put that no, my opinion hasn't changed. I still think they should go the 1040.
Mm-hmm. It's basically my thoughts. And have any conflicting thoughts on that?
Jen, one more time.
We'll discuss your answers on the class prep worksheet on the Excel sheet. Did you guys do that?
Oh, okay. I don't have my stuff open, so my point of reference is like totally off.
Okay.
Just says, based on your analysis of the BzzAgent term sheet and the VC term sheet, has your opinion of which term sheet accept? Which proposal?
Didn't we already answer this?
Yeah, I feel like we already answered this.
That we're
Wait, are you guys
weren't gonna
on the
we were
class
gonna do the 40-10?
Yeah.
Are you guys on the class prep?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't seeing number 1. Yeah, so we already went through that. I think we're all pretty comfortable with the first option.
Yeah.
Term sheet describes a more investor-friendly board. How much valuation would you give up in the VC term sheet in exchange for getting the board structure initially proposed by BzzAgent? I don't know.
I just kind of threw out a number. I said I'd be willing to give up 30% valuation because that would still leave them with 70% to be able to maintain control over the board.
Yeah, I think that's a good number.
I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. BzzAgent term sheet described a planned distribution of approximately $3 million to management and current investors immediately prior to the transaction. What is your opinion of the merits of such a distribution from Balter's perspective, from the VC's perspective? So they're essentially talking about a bonus.
I put from Balter's, it'd be great. You know, if you're there in management, a bonus is awesome. But as far as being the person giving the money as a venture capitalist, I'd be questioning giving them 3 million of the 10 million if all they're going to do with it is give it out as bonuses.
Right.
Unless, I mean, if they could prove that management needed it and that they were valued at that, then that might be different, because I know management is important to maintain and have a good management team. But if they're just giving them bonuses and they haven't really earned it, then I would have a big issue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a pretty black and white question, right? Like, of course you want that if you're the management. Of course you probably don't want it if you're the investor.
Yeah, I think it's very straightforward, basically.
Okay. Does anyone want to add anything, or should we move on?
We can move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there's a B case. Okay. So there's one more thing in the discussion. We have to read the B case, and as a group decide. Okay, so is everyone on the page? It says you have to complete a poll before gaining access to the case. So let me take a look at that. It's like a little quiz you have to take real quick. I'm just gonna go and do it.
All right, I've taken mine. I didn't know I was supposed to wait. I didn't know what it was for, and so I took it, I think, way before I was supposed to. I was like, because it doesn't even say as far as the instructions for that poll. It's just there. So.
Oh, okay.
I took it.
All right. Can you access the B case then?
Yeah, I'm on. I have it open.
Do you want to maybe just read that then? Because I'm trying to load the quiz and it's not.
Yeah, I can read it. It's kind of long. Well, it's not like really long. It's like 4 pages, but I can read it.
Geez.
It's like not long, but it's not short. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Whoa.
After serious contemplation, Balter decided to follow the advice of the chairman and sent the proposal term sheets to 11 venture capitalist firms. I can't pronounce this guy's name, so I'm just going to say his name. Cavan and Balter had identified these firms as those that had significant relevant industry experience, were known to add value to their portfolio companies, or who might improve the chances of a successful exit through the cachet of their own brand name. The firms included 4 of the top West Coast VCs, 4 of the top East Coast VCs, and 3 firms that had multiple investments in consumer companies. Although Balter had been concerned that their approach would be deemed too brash and naive, he was pleasantly surprised when several firms quickly arranged for follow-up calls and meetings to learn more about BzzAgent and to discuss what sort of partner they might be for the business. Over the course of the following weeks, Balter and Kavana met with each of the firms, many of which agreed to the basic terms and conditions that BzzAgent had proposed. A few of the firms asked to change specific terms. Balter's answer was always the same. You should change whatever you would like to change, but we will consider that a negative in our assessment of your proposal. We think the proposal term sheet is a balanced approach. Do you want me to read the whole thing? I can.
I think we should just find out what the main takeaways from it are. I'm trying to load it myself.
I can read the last paragraph or the last little part. So we get like the beginning.
Sure.
So it says, sitting down with his chairman to determine their next move, Balter began discussing his ranking system and the relative merits of the different firms. Was his ranking system the right approach? Had Balter used the right criteria now that they had identified their top 4 VC firms? How should they proceed?
Tell us what happened.
Well, it gives us the different firms. We have firm A, firm B, firm C, and firm D.
Wasn't this in the study?
That's what it, like that first paragraph and the ending paragraph. The ending paragraph, I think, comes straight from the other case.
Yeah.
Those exact questions were in there.
I remember A, B, and C were in the case.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I was gonna say, I think basically, do we choose term A, B, C, or D, or none of the above, and why?
Okay. Yes, this was. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm fine.
And then
yeah,
we
so
have to turn in a. Sorry, go ahead. I can say we have to turn in a paper with this, and so I was just gonna type it up while we are kind of deciding, or while we decide, so that I can just turn it in right when we're done.
Okay, that's cool. Appreciate that. I'm
just reading through firm A. I'm just gonna skim those real quick.
Yeah, it was firm A when I read the study. Firm A seems like they're really gung-ho about it. They have good chemistry, guys. It seems like just they were really on board with their whole thing. I think the only thing that was holding firm A back is that they didn't have as much, like as much of a resume, I guess you could say. Like they're a bit more new and they're not as established as the other guys. In my mind, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess just the last thing in my mind, I kind of saw that as an advantage because if they are setting their own terms, it might be good to work with a team that's not used to setting their terms for like 20 years, you know?
That's true.
Yeah, so that was my thought.
And I chose A also because of the fact that because they were new, is they kind of don't have their ways set in stone. So this company can kind of groom them to do more of, tailored to what they want because they don't already kind of have a preset agenda of how they handle things. That was my opinion.
Cool.
I agree. I think the fact that they seem to get along really well is a big deal. Because if you're butting heads with who it is or they think they're above you, then I don't think you're going to work out very well. It's like a normal relationship.
Yeah, I agree. Madeline, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just reading through it. Kind of like what you guys have been saying. And they mentioned that they're the kindest. It kind of seems like they're like more younger, so they are more like active investors and more on board with things. And I also saw the part about how it says they're extremely knowledgeable about the consumer technology industry. So those all seem like good things.
What did you just say?
Oh, you didn't hear any of that?
Just that last, I heard part of it, but I'm trying to write our group.
Oh, sorry. I think a big thing for them was that they're knowledgeable about the technology industry. And I think that's a big thing to have, if that makes sense. Because I don't know, I've been reading about like angel investing, and like the investors are usually more knowledgeable about that certain type of technology, like they're a master about that. If that makes
familiarity with the market.
Yeah, that made any sense.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is just I think maybe if it was any other kind of deal, maybe the other guys would be more enticing, like if it was just a traditional deal. But since they're setting the terms and they're kind of choosing their own partners, you'd want to choose the one that you get along with the most and who agrees with your plan the most, since it is the most unorthodox. Yeah, so maybe if they were like needing a lot of money and they were in a more desperate situation, maybe the other guys with more experience would be a better choice. But in this specific scenario, yeah, I like A more.
Okay. Cool. Do you want me to read you what I wrote, and then you can tell me if you want to add anything to it?
Okay.
It's not very long. It's like 3 lines. I just put, we would choose to work with Firm A because they seem to have a strong relationship. They are knowledgeable about the industry. This will be a powerful tool when they are working through market difficulties. I don't know. I just like, it's kind of choppy, but I just kind of wrote it as that way.
Sounds fine with me.
Okay.
Do you want to also add that, I think Vanessa, you guys all mentioned it, how they're like not so experienced, so they're able to adapt easier?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, is that it's like you guys said, you can groom them more, you can make them, you can use that inexperience to your advantage in this particular situation, I think.
Yeah.
I guess I like how Vanessa put it, they're less set in their ways with this kind of partnership.
Yeah.
I think it just makes it easier to sometimes work with people when they haven't kind of, this is kind of a stupid term, but they haven't done the rodeo over and over and over again. So they're not walking in expecting something, to where they're more open to maybe looking at it from a different perspective because they haven't really traveled down this road over and over again. And so they're just willing to be kind of more open to others' ideas and maybe taking it in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. The other guys are, I think, a better choice if you want to go play by their rules. Like, if that's your thing going in, like we just want to work with a partner, get their terms and go with them, then yeah, the other guys are great. But they're not in that situation, so.
Yeah, they're not. All right. Oh wait, do we want to summarize it real fast?
Yeah, I guess we'll do that.
1 second, let me get the timer up so that I can stop it.
Okay. Do you guys want me to do it this time?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
We looked over all the options of what BzzAgent can do right now, and we decided that they should, that they shouldn't go with the investor that's offering their own terms, because they're in a position where they have created demand for themselves. And with so many venture capitalists on board, I think it's unreasonable to go with the terms that somebody else is setting when you have the power to set your own. Especially, we determined that the numbers, the additional numbers that like money that they would get from the other venture capitalists aren't even significantly greater than what would they be getting otherwise. As far as the firm that we chose, we determined that firm A was the best choice because they seemed the most willing to work with them and their terms, and they also are inexperienced, which on paper is a con, but we feel like in this particular instance it's somewhat of a pro because they're less set in their ways, and they're more able to do things that might be unorthodox. They might run into problems working with a firm that's been around for 20, 30 years who has their own specific way of handling every client, you know, when their plan is clearly out. So yeah, we all unanimously agree that they should stick with their own terms and go with firm A.
Awesome.
Great.
I'm going to stop broadcasting.